In other news, Finance Minister Avigdor Lieberman is announcing that he's going to cancel daycare subsidies for children of full-time yeshiva students. This means that only families in which both parents work part-time will be eligible for the 1,000 shekel monthly benefit. But of course, while this is just one of Lieberman's campaign promises, the change puts the coalition in a bind, with Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, Interior Minister Shaked, and Justice Minister Sa'ar having promised not to hurt the Haredi public. In any case, ILTV's Asaf Nissan joins me in the studio with the analysis. Asaf, thanks so much for being here. What does this new law mean for the Haredi public in Israel?
So up to now, the Haredi public in Israel used to live on one thing. They used to live on the budgets they used to get every month from the government, but the condition was that one of the parents had to work. Thus, mostly the women used to work, and a lot of men were full-time yeshiva students, kept getting the grants. That's pretty much changing now, since Lieberman wants them both to work, which means under 24 hours a week of work or study via a university or vocational schools. Those are the options that will grant you the benefit. Otherwise, you're going to have to prove, I don't know, maybe you're like a really high, one of the generation rabbis.
I see. All right, so how does this law affect other people? Because I know that the law itself doesn't specifically target Haredim. It hurts them most, possibly, but who else does this affect?
This affects some of the low-income families with a lot of children. Honestly, it also takes you back even to '96 when Netanyahu was the prime minister. This is one of the first laws he passed during his time in the government, because he wanted to encourage labor, thus meaning that low-income families and families with a lot of kids, at the end of the day, would have to support their kids. And sometimes, having a job that doesn't always give you the time or doesn't pay well enough puts you in a bind.
So what are some of the arguments for this, for the supporters, critics, pros and cons?
So pretty much it's going to be, for now, mostly what we're seeing also is a lot of support from the Israel Beitenu party itself, which is supporting now the integration of Haredim in the labor force, integrating them in the army, integrating them pretty much in the Israeli society, finally relieving kind of a pressure that is felt from the Israeli public. But nonetheless, you can see on the other hand that it does hurt the effect that already is going on in the public. A lot of Haredis these days work. The high-tech industry is filled with them.
Yeah, and there's been a really concerted effort, especially in the last 5-6 years, to introduce more ultra-Orthodox into high-tech and into all sorts of different...
They were all building special programs for them, special conditions. Yep. There's even places in Jerusalem that are destined for Haredis, especially to work under conditions that can also be in the yeshiva.
So how are people in general responding to this, though?
So it depends, of course, on the sentiment, but most of the public, I feel, is very in the middle, because on the one hand, they're happy that the Haredim are finally not going to be budgeted anymore, and those funds can go somewhere that's needed even more. But on the other hand, there are those who think that it does hurt the integration, because as you can see, a lot of them do work, and a lot of them do want to integrate in the public, and don't want to be a burden on the children anymore.
It's an attack on them almost, for no
Exactly.
reason.
It unifies them to a cause against it. It doesn't help.
All right, so my final question is, can the coalition handle this many controversies? Because it seems like just one in a long series of topics that they cannot agree on.
It's true. We've seen it with the family unification bill that fell. We've seen it through other diplomatic responses and decisions made by the government, i.e. Ayelet Shaked and Benny Gantz, that we're talking about the settlements. It doesn't end, but in the end of the day, we're talking about a government that's filled with different parties, different perspectives. You cannot be more certain there's going to be no other controversies. But again, time will tell.
Maybe they're just finding their footing around each other.
Exactly. It's the 100 first days. Still have enough time.
All right, Asaf Nissan, thank you so much for your analysis.
Thank you so much.